All right, I'm excited about this next interview. Kind of goes along with our theme today a little bit. And Kyle Young is joining us here on the Sam Bourquin Show, 1310 WDPN. Outstanding basketball player at Jackson, at Butler, finished things up at The Ohio State University. And Kyle's going to have his number retired at Jackson tomorrow night as the Polar Bears take the floor over at Jackson High School. Kyle, thanks for coming on today, partner. How you doing this afternoon?
Absolutely. I'm doing great. I appreciate you having me.
Oh, you bet, man. I've been looking forward to this. It's such a big deal. You know, when I still go over to Jackson and I call games, I always look over at that one wall and I see Jamie Bosley's number up there. I see Taylor Mikesell's number up there, and old 35 is going to go up there tomorrow. How are you feeling about that, and how cool is that for you?
Yeah, man. I mean, you just mentioned two great names, two people I know very well, Jamie and Taylor, and it's exciting. I just feel blessed to even be in the position I am now, and when I first found out about it, I immediately obviously told my family, and it's just special, to have that number up there forever. Come tomorrow night is a very special thing, and I'm thankful for it.
Kyle, when did you find out? Who told you, and like what was like the immediate reaction for you?
It was Coach Sabevic.
Okay.
So yeah, he came to me. This was a few months ago, or about a month and a half, 2 months ago, when it was kind of decided, when it was finalized, and yeah, I was just excited. I was I say surprised just because he had mentioned it before, but really didn't know if it was going to happen or when it was going to happen. But like I said, just grateful, and grateful for him and this program and this community, and yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, I mean, one of the best to ever do it at Jackson. Of course, your tremendous collegiate career, and gosh, you're in there's not a lot of kids out there that I don't, and even I'm talking about the entire country, that have their numbers retired at their high school. And I'm sure if I was able to look down the road, I would see, holy cow, that's some pretty big names at whatever school we're talking about. And I'm sure they went on to have great college careers, and some, of course, made it to the NBA. Obviously, you excelled in basketball. At one point early in your life, Kyle, did you kind of figure it out? The light went on, and you said, boy, if I work at this, I can really do some special stuff.
Yeah, that's a great question. I played multiple sports growing up. Was around sports my whole life with my older siblings playing. My brother was basketball, my sister was
Mm-hmm.
basketball, but they also played other things. Football and baseball and softball. So I was always around sports. Knew I loved them, enjoyed them. I was athletic, but heading into more so middle school time is when I decided to give up baseball and football. When it got to school ball time, and I kind of just decided to, you know, set my focus on basketball. And then, going into freshman year was really when it kind of clicked for me. Like, this is what I want to do. I'm going to put all my time into it. And, if I work hard enough, I can probably do something with this one day. So I'd say around that time was really when it kind of hit me, and I went all in after that.
The last time I checked your height weight stats, they had you at 6'8", about 225, 230. When you were growing up, were you always tall? Did you like shoot up out of nowhere? How was that? What was that like?
Yeah, I was always, relatively taller than most of my teammates growing up, but I did have two growth spurts throughout my life that kind of made a big difference. One when I was younger, but then one going into high school too, between freshman and sophomore year. Um, was when I kind of shot up to 6'6", 6'7", and then kind of finished out at 6'8" there. So definitely in high school there was my last growth spurt was a big one. Helped me get to where I am now. And then the weight came on later though. That's when I got to Ohio State and really started focusing on my body. Was when I put on the muscle. So
Man, I gotta ask, where did the hops come from, my man? Where? I mean, you could rise. Where'd that come from?
yeah, yeah, a lot of hard work, man. I don't good genetics, a lot of hard work. That was one thing, in my earlier years that I spent a lot of time, a lot of summer time focusing on was my jumping ability. So I mean, my brother, like, I don't know if you knew my brother Mark.
Mark, yep.
Yeah, from back in the day, he could jump too. So, I think it runs in the family a little bit, but definitely a lot of hard work and a lot of time spent, in the weight room and working on that to be able to do it. So.
Kyle Young is our guest, former Polar Bear, Buckeye, joining us here on the Sam Bourquin Show, AM 1310 WDPN. Kyle's going to have his number 35 retired tomorrow night. It's going to go on the wall at Jackson High School. If you're out and about tomorrow, you want to see some hoops and a pretty cool little celebration, to get on over to Jackson tomorrow night and take that all in. They're supposed to tip around 6:45, 7 o'clock tomorrow night. Obviously, a tremendous career, Kyle, at Jackson and the state championship down in Columbus. And I was lucky enough to call that game and had such a ball watching you guys and your teammates and your coaches and the community just all come together. I know you've talked about this a lot, but gosh, it seems like it was yesterday, but it was a few years ago. What kind of memories do you really kind of focus in on with that group? And was there a guy on the team that year that was kind of like an unsung hero that helped you guys win the whole thing?
I mean, talk about memories. There's a lot of them, on and off the court with that group. We all grew up together. I think that's what, made that group so special.
Mm-hmm.
Big senior class, we stuck together. We were playing since third grade together. And to talk about just like time spent off the court, that's who we hung out with, was each other. And, obviously that helped us with chemistry on the court. But that whole state run, especially, I think, if you asked any of us, we all have multiple different memories to pull from, especially that night, when we won it, and just kind of it all coming together for us. Like, this is what, we've been working for, and, all that good stuff. But talk about unsung hero. Like, after that game, I specifically remember just talking about the rest of the team, because, I didn't have the best scoring offensive game. That state final game, I had a great semifinal, in terms of, my offense, but it came down to, what made us so great over all the years was just how deep we were, and, collectively how well we played together. So really just everybody else, how well we played together, how we played off each other really was the difference maker. And again, just talk about how special that team was. That's another reason.
Yeah, and of course, you had to go through the Wild Federal League, and then you're going through the tournament, and man, you guys didn't have any easy road, especially when you got to the regional title and then down to Columbus, and you're going up against a Moeller team in the finals, and just figuring out a way to win. And there was so many Jackson people down there that night, and you remember what it was like as the clock was kind of ticking down there at the end, and it kind of just, were you able to soak that all in on the floor?
Yeah, I tried to after the fact, because, as it's happening, you never really know how a moment like that's going to go, or you can try to, visualize it. But once you experience it, like, it's almost like everything kind of blacks out for a second. When that final buzzer sounded, remember in the final play, I was opposite side of the hoop, and, the ball hit the backboard and fell in my hands as the buzzer went off. And, I just dropped it and just immediately sprinted towards the team, not really knowing exactly what I wanted to do yet. But after we kind of got done jumping around, and Coach Purdue had me in a headlock for about 30 seconds.
There's a shock.
I was able to, really just take some time, get down on the floor for a second and try to just, like you said, soak it all in, because obviously that was the only time that was going to happen at that point. So, special moment. Just looking back on it now, looking at, pictures, videos, reliving it.
Yeah,
it's pretty could
I forgot you were the last one to have the ball at the end of the game, and I don't know, Kyle, if that would have been me, I'd have taken that ball and found a bag to stuff it in and put it on the bus and keep that thing, man. That would have been really cool. But of course, you're in the heat of the moment. You want to go celebrate with your friends, because at the end of the day, and you mentioned, starting third grade, fourth grade with all the guys. There's nothing like that, and that was cool that you could be a part of that kind of a celebration. Kyle Young is our guest, former Jackson Polar Bear Buckeye. little stop at Butler on the way, come over with Coach Holtman a little bit later on, and finished up at Ohio State. Kyle, of course, now you're on the bench. You got the purple and white on. You're helping with Coach DeBevick and Coach Wasity and Coach Purdue. And what has that been like for you to come back and be on the bench and watch this thing unfold and help guys along the way?
It's been great, and I thank the coaching staff for bringing me on board, Coach DeBevick, having that conversation with me, and starting as of last year, I was just kind of volunteering, and now actually being on staff. It's been great to be back where it all started. Just to share, I guess, my experiences and knowledge of the game with these young players, and just try to do anything I can help. But just to be back here and be a part of the program, and part of a place that just think this community, this high school, everything about it, this basketball program is it's awesome. It's very family like culture. So yeah, being back here has been fantastic, and I'm happy to be where I'm at.
Of course, it's been about 10 years since you graduated from Jackson.
Yeah, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. So I was going to ask, I mean, has it only being 10 years, but have you noticed any changes in the way that the high school basketball has maybe changed in a direction or other, especially in Stark County or Northeast Ohio, since you've been back doing it?
It's hard to tell. I feel like there's so many moving parts constantly, just depending on the league and, what kind of guys you got coming through, and, if there's coaching changes across the league or, whatever it might be. I feel like there's always moving parts, but I mean, the Federal League's still a tough league. You got to come ready to play every night, especially being Jackson too. We still notice that, I feel like we get everybody's best shot. So, it's just been nice to be back and experience this all again with these guys, and try to, share the experience I had, to give them any advice or tips on, what I think can help, for now and down the road. So, yeah, I still think it's pretty similar. It's competitive. There's always moving parts, though.
Yeah, well, the crazy world we live in now, of course, you've got NIL in high school sports now in the state of Ohio. It's going wild in college. I got to ask, Kyle Young at Ohio State, what kind of cheddar would you be pulling down now if you were back playing then?
That's a great question. I leave that up to you guys to speculate. Because,
millions? We're talking millions, right?
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people, ask me that question and make comments, and I just tell them, listen, hey, everything happens for a reason. I don't want to think about it too much. Yeah, I leave it up to you guys to speculate.
Can you imagine it at the high school level now? I mean, I think it's crazy. Yeah. I mean, everybody's got their own different situation, but did you ever think that there would be high school kids would get paid for their name, image, and likeness?
It's like back in the day, you think of say a top 5 kid or in the country, you would think, there was something going on in the behind the scenes, with just trying to get kids to, there's all those stories, but when it comes down to actual NIL and it being in place as a rule, I never would have, thought that would have come to be, but I think it'll definitely change the high school landscape a lot, just like it's changed the college landscape a lot. There's definitely going to need to be things set in place, boundaries, limitations, and all that, just so it doesn't kind of, go wild. But like I said, there's a lot of moving parts to all of it, and it's cool because it's adapting, but I just hope it still keeps the same vibe and feel it needs to. Same with college basketball. I still want that same competitiveness, before the pro leagues and that whole thing. And so it's crazy to think, but yeah, I never thought it would make its way down to high school. So
that is wild.
The next few, coming years, how it affects the game and how it affects where guys end up too.
Kyle Young is our guest, going to have his number retired tomorrow night at Jackson. If you're in the area, the Polar Bears will play tomorrow night at home around 7 o'clock, and Kyle's going to have his number 35 put up on the wall at the high school. It's going to be a really cool experience for everybody tomorrow night. Couple quick ones, and we'll let you go, my man. I know you're busy. You're coaching. You're living your life. Do you get a chance to watch or pay attention a lot to Ohio State basketball and the Cavs. I don't know if you're a Cavs fan or not, but if you are, speak a little bit on both of those squads and how they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously being an Ohio State alumni, I definitely try to keep up with them. I've been to a few games so far this season with my wife and my family, and it's always good to go down there and see everybody and kind of check in. I know they're kind of on the bubble right now with getting into the tournament, but I got full faith in them and Coach Ziebler and his staff and those players, because Coach Ziebler, he's a great guy. I played for him. Great coach, great basketball mind. So it's tough to see some of the stuff online that's had been said or being said about that whole situation, because obviously just being on the inside of it, I know how good of a basketball mind he is and good of a person he is. So I wish them nothing but the best. When it comes to the Cavs, I haven't watched a whole bunch of NBA, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I seen the recent trade with James Harden. I like it. I've always liked to watch him play. I think it'd be cool to bring another guy on board and then bring LeBron back home.
It might happen
here. I think that would be a cool ending. So yeah, other than that, man, I don't watch much Cavs. So
gotcha. Well, I tell you what, they're starting to play really well now. They could be a lot of fun to watch here, and I think you're going to get your wish. I think LeBron's going to come back next year. I'd almost guarantee it, but I think that'll be fun as well. Well, Kyle, I really appreciate you coming on and spending some time with us today. Obviously, loved watching you play. Loved to broadcast a lot of your games. Watching you at Ohio State and Butler, and just a great human. And congratulations on the honor. Soak it all in tomorrow night, and best of luck to you. Okay.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on.
You got it, man. Here he goes. Kyle Young, former Jackson Polar Bear and Ohio State Buckeye, going to have his number 35 retired tomorrow night at Jackson High School.